I don't need to keep you guys here, too much longer, but I am curious just because I'm just curious about it. What is your experience being black man on the street?
That's dope. Great question. Yeah.
Depends on where we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
100%.
So around Nashville, what do you give me some flush that out a little bit.
Go ahead, Mike.
I don't, it's like anywhere else, honestly. For me, I'll tell you the story. I got pulled over a couple days ago, and it's nighttime. Cop pulls up behind me. I pull off. Comes up to the car. So because of what's happened in the past with black men and cops, tensions are high already. So heart's racing a little bit, just a little bit. I usually stay pretty calm. But, he comes in and gets my license. I noticed that his heart's racing a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell when somebody's just, I felt like the way he was to me, because he probably wanted to portray himself as, it's cool, I'm safe, you're good, we're all good. But both of our, tension was elevated. But anyway, so, I find that, kind of walking around the city, it's a lot like that cop. Like, I want everybody to know, hey, you don't have to be there's no reason to be alarmed, just a normal person. But we carry that with every step.
Yeah.
With every look, it's like,
yeah, I
need to make a certain move or look to make sure they know I'm good. You know, I'm not here to cause any trouble or, harm or whatever. So, I kind of experienced that today too. I walked a little bit downtown Murfreesboro, and it's an older white, I guess area, whatever, courthouse down there, and law offices and little coffee shops or whatever, cafes as well. But anyway, older white people were walking around, so I'm just walking around with a camera, and so I'm just thinking, I'm thinking about their perception of me. What is he up to? I get it, because I have perceptions of other people. What's this guy up to?
Right.
So for me, I'm very used to it, but I have this natural way of just making sure I got a cool look on me, and
you don't look threatening.
I don't look threatening. As a comedian, it's a meme going around or whatever about
coffee.
Get a Starbucks cup.
The Starbucks cup. If you walk around with that Starbucks cup, they know you're good. I drink pumpkin spice just like you.
It's like that.
I know, man.
It's like that. Pull out the laptop just to let them know, hey, I'm a young professional.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Whatever.
Mario, chime in, man. I'd love to hear what you got to say.
It's fascinating. I can hear any black person talk about this, and it's instantly relatable. So it's because we've all gone through it.
Yep.
I lived in small rural Texas. I wasn't a photographer then. I could imagine going to do photo walks in a town that literally looks like, you could smell the racism in the doors. I promise you. And at one point I was door-to-door salesman selling insurance. I couldn't get through the door sometimes, I mean, I knew I was black, but man, they sure made me feel bad for being black over there, But I digress. Back to here. Last night I went out. I was walking at night, and I was tail end of the shoot. I was going to my car. My car was right there, but coming towards me was this younger white girl. I'm like, oh man, please don't cross the street. It was
Yep.
Man.
I mean, that was the thought. Please don't cross the street. I didn't look threatening. I had a bag. I had my camera in my hand, and she didn't. And we crossed paths and we smiled at each other. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good interaction. That was it. But at every step, at every juncture, we are aware that, maybe there's a world where people don't really like people like us, and so very, very cognizant about it. but I don't let it bother me. If you don't touch me, you can say whatever you want to me. Don't touch me. And God forbid, I'm with my family. Oh man, that's where I think the carnal and the violence would come out of me if my family is being targeted to being harmed. I could just thinking about that, my blood is boiling, and that's literally where I draw the line right here. You can say whatever you want to me. Don't touch me.
Yeah,
that's it. But don't say anything to my family, my girls, my wife.
Yeah,
off limits.
Yeah, yeah,
and that's pretty much it when it comes to that. But and Nashville is pretty progressive. It's a transplant city. Many people from different walks of life, big cities, New York City, Chicago, LA.
Yeah.
They live here, so I have seldom felt like somebody other than a human being. So kudos to Nashville for that. But I can't speak for outside of Nashville proper, but I tend to still be very cognizant of where I am and who's around me. So
we do have really good interactions too.
Yeah.
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 So it's not all bad.
It's not bad at all.
I agree. Like, my experience has been, in Nashville, like downtown urban, like the more urban it is, and this is actually a shock for me because I don't remember it being that easy back in 10 years ago. I feel like the city has grown more and more to like embrace the diversity and the ethnic diversity, especially here. But yeah, I mean, I don't go anywhere without thinking about the fact that I'm a black man. So like in a sense, like there's nothing different about the photo walk than like me walking down the street to the grocery store. It's really the same experience for me. It's just, you're vigilant. Now, I will say this. I love taking pictures of like old dilapidated like country looking things. I just stay in my car. That's why I'm glad I got that Tamron 35 to 150. Shout out to Tamron. So I stay right in the car.
Half a mile away.
I got that 50 to 400. I'm about to get all these like nice little rural shots. Yeah, we'll never have to leave the car, baby. Being right in that bad boy. No, but that I do switch up my approach based off of that. Like downtown, I don't really, get a sense of, there's too much going on with that. But yeah, like some of the more rural stuff going down in, Nolensville or like just kind of all the further bands out, I just pretty much stay in my car and take a shot from the window just because, I just I'm not here to create any problems, so you just got to know your surroundings.
Do you feel like that it's heading in the right direction? Or do you feel like this is generally plateaued, or do you feel like it's getting worse?
Yeah, as far as like race relations.
Yeah, what I'm specifically wondering about is like how you feel when you go anywhere, do anything, including on the photo walks.
Yeah, to me, I mean that's a pretty broad bucket because it kind of just depends.
I would say maybe in Nashville in particular, which I know you hadn't been here for a few years, but
in the city,
because I'm sure it would absolutely depend on. We need to be specific about where we're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
where we're talking about specifically,
because that would make a big difference.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, but I do feel like as far as like in the city, it's definitely trending. In personally, I have a white wife. I remember back in 2010 being here, where that was just a little more taboo. Wow. And when we came back, it just seemed like people don't really bat an eye, and that's more like bigger progressive cities just don't really. I mean, it's whatever.
Taboo from which standpoint?
Yeah,
the white standpoint or the black standpoint?
Probably both, but like,
oh really?
Yeah, definitely both. Like because there's a huge degree of suspicion on either side, and it's like people are saying, "What kind of black person must you be?" And then other people are saying, "What kind of white person must you be?" And there's all these judgments of what that means. And like, I guarantee you will not nail it. From looking at, you will not know that she's. You might guess that she's a white girl from Washington, but you wouldn't guess that she moved to Washington D.C. to go to law school at HBCU as a white girl. So it's like you can't know that,
right?
So like it's just those things are kind of the the anomaly. So, yeah, so it is kind of, I have found that it is incredibly easy to engage. And actually I've been enjoying the fact, like, when you see like 3 black dudes walking down the street, look, we're either up to like something really bad or really great. And like, we give you every reason. Like, I mean, there's nothing about the aura where people are like pushed off. Like, as a matter of fact, like we get a lot of people that come to us, white people even, that come up to us that are like engaging, talking to us. It is interesting to me, how that's all panning out. So yeah, I mean, it's now me by myself coming out of a back alley, like when it's dark in Nashville. I mean, those are, I look, if I saw somebody walking out of a back alley in the dark in Nashville, I mean, there's a sense in which you just kind of like
looking like you.
Yeah, I don't know what you're up to, man.
Yeah,
I ain't got it on me right now.
Well, it's hard to hear. Like it's hard to hear that you think about that.
Yeah.
When you get pulled over, when you're going to the grocery store, whether you're in an alley or not, it's like it's hard to hear. Yeah. But is that sort of what we're talking about when we talk about, like, we want to work towards a better day, a brighter future? Essentially, what we're talking about is that if you're black, you don't have to worry about that anymore. That's what we're talking about. Like,
yeah,
like, is that's the future that we would want? Where, and I'm sure it's like hard to. Is it hard to really even picture that will happen in your lifetime?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of our experience. Yeah. Now my wife and I are at the place where, should we open up to our boys about our experience? I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. Mm-hmm. Yes, we want the future where we don't even have to tell them anything. You know? Nobody's going to look at you a certain way. But and we're delaying it right now because I guess we're hopeful. But and that's also a hard thing to communicate to a kid. Hey, look, you're probably not going to be liked by certain people because of the way you look. And that's tough. So our experience, tells us maybe not. Hopefully, we don't know. But and as it pertains to my kids, we're still debating. We're still hoping that we don't have to. Yeah.
One thing that the world has shown me is that I'm not being pessimistic. I'm the most optimistic person in the world, but the world has shown me that this will always be there. There will always be pockets of evil around. But it has also shown me that, where there is evil, there is also good. And people who fight for good. And so it'll always be around because, that kind of ideology doesn't really die. There's always somebody. I mean, we're all Christians here. There's evil in the world, so Satan's out there corrupting somebody's mind into believing that these people are the worst people in the world. And so it will always be there. But just as there's evil, God, Jesus, prevails always. So he will always be there as well. So there's the hope for that. So, yeah.
But you must feel, as you're out doing these photo walks, engaging with people, talking with people, you must feel, if you stop and think about it, that you're like part of the solution, that you're bringing like healing in little small ways, right? Or a proper conception instead of misconception. You're building bridges, like it. For someone who's there's some people that's not going to make a difference, probably, right? They're set in their ways, and that's going to take. It's really going to take God or some sort of major intervention to change them. Yeah. But then there might be some people that they might, want to cross the street, but they don't, or they do, but they weren't sure if they needed to, whatever. And then they engage with you guys. I mean, I have to think anyone who engaged with you guys on Broadway, who might have went into that engagement with some amount of suspicion, is going to leave that engagement being like, oh shoot, those dudes are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
So do you feel that you're part of like
that's a great question, man.
That connecting people from various standpoints, viewpoints, that type of thing when you're out doing that?
Yeah, I don't even think I've even thought of it at that level. And I think probably part of the reason for that is that, when I go out on these photo walks, it's just, to me, it's an extension of just who I am as a whole person. So like, yeah, man, maybe that's happening. Maybe it is happening. And I do hope it's happening, in every engagement that people have with me. And maybe photo walks are another touch point in which people, can engage with someone who looks like me, sounds like me, kind of has the same aura, and then that tells them, man, what does that expose about what's going on in me? But I also hope that I'm also learning and growing and engaging people, because I have a lot of perceptions about what a Tennessean is. Coming. I think a lot of those are, I'm like, man, Tennessee still sounds like Tennessee to me. Like, and I think I'm learning how much I can enjoy, other people who aren't like me, who are from a different, just have different cultural touch points, different upbringing. So like, in a sense, yeah, maybe that's happening for others. I know for me, it's definitely helping me to be able to love my neighbor and walk amongst my neighbors. So I feel like I'm getting the benefit of this.
I love that.